because it's got to coordinate between Be Live and Facebook.
Okay. Well, apparently we're on.
Yep.
So
on that group that I watch, it just popped up on there with the group that Carolyn, Rebecca, and everybody's in. So on Zoom.
okay.
And they're actually going to share this on Zoom tonight.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. Well, folks, we are live, and the title is "Watch Your Steps," and and what that is in regard to is the steps to sovereignty and the steps to becoming a secured party creditor in the United States. And the book that I'm going to tell you and Chris is going to share with you the title and where to find it. The title is Redemption Manual 4.5. And if, hey, how's it going? And I can't see who's actually the person that's commenting. I see the comments, and it's just saying comment from Facebook, comment from Facebook. So
really?
apparently, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going on to.
I see Marita, Jimmy Collins, Anne Marie, Don Diego, Rebecca Witherspoon.
Facebook. Okay, now I got to turn that volume down. So okay, so here we are. Yeah, now I'm seeing Anne Marie, Jimmy Collins, Marita, you old fart, you young fart. And there's Miss Divers. Jay, welcome. Okay, the title of the book, and Chris is going to share all the visuals because I'm new at this Be Live broadcasting. I see the comments. So.
Yep, that's all right. You'll get it. It takes a little bit. Got to work the bugs out of it.
So
now, here's one of the things too, Stephen. If you're watching this and then you look over your phone, you're going to notice there's a delay.
Oh yeah.
So that could throw you off.
I'm going to type in the comments, the title of the book, and we're going to help you tonight to download it. It's a free PDF download. If you were to go out and buy the book itself, it's $115. And you don't want to do that. Because if I've always been told, if you can get something for free, do it. So anyways, I got to put my phone up on the stand so I don't have to keep holding it. Welcome, Matthew Peavy. Welcome, Sean Bowden. Welcome, Rebecca Witherspoon. Welcome. So tonight's title is Watch Your Steps. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an outline of the book. So once everybody looks it up on their browser, Redemption Manual 4.5, once you have it up on your browser, and if you want to download the PDF, please do. That way, when you are, attending these shows, then you know what we're talking about. You can go right to that page, read along right with us, and then you'll be up to date. My warning. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have it right now. Just remember Redemption Manual 4.5. Marita, welcome, Keith.
And literally, they can download it on their phone too.
Yeah, you can. If you have a smartphone, you can download it on your phone. And Connie Keith from Kansas, welcome. Okay. In the beginning of these shows, we're going to set a 30-minute limit, no more than 45 minutes. Once we get into the meat of the book, we're going to set that limit because we don't want to overload your brains. So,
Yeah.
well, and it's very in-depth and it's very complex. Hey, welcome, Keith. So this book I thought I knew a lot about being sovereign, but I didn't realize I was, enabling the people who aren't. I wasn't enabling the people who aren't sovereign. I was enabling the government to keep y'all sovereign. Even with the information I was giving everybody, I wasn't giving you, all the information. And this book touches on every step of the way. It tells you about the true history of Congress since its inception. It uses a lot of scripture. Well, not a lot that I've read so far, because I'm not even done reading the book. But it sets it up. It tells you how to break free from the banking system. It has all the forms in it for all your UCC, United Commercial Codes, how to break away from the Corporation of America. And it's so enlightening. Welcome, Denise Scarda and Faye Rowe. Welcome. I just accepted some of these people's friend requests in the last few days. And Johnny Rourke's here, Jenny Wells. Most of these people are from your wonderful page, Chris.
Yep. I did a little promo this morning of this. Carolyn Divers, Bree, Rebecca, got quite a few people, Johnny Rourke. They're all on a group in there on Zoom. And I did a little promo with them. And then Johnny had a show today. So I went on Johnny's show also and did a little promo for it. So I'm glad, man. Look at that. You got 41 viewers already. That's awesome.
Already 41. Okay. Now, for those of you who didn't catch the title of the book is called Redemption Manual 4.5. So, what else? Well, the outline of the book, I'm telling you right now, if you download this book, Chris can tell you, and I'm going to tell you, I was forewarned by the author. Don't skip ahead in the book. Don't skip the preface. Don't skip the acknowledgments, and don't bypass any of it. Don't skip ahead, because if you do, you will not be able to understand the future sections of the book. So if you want to show them the cover, yep. Chris.
Yep. Okay, guys, I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to use my camera for all this. I got another screen pulled up here. I'm on Google. And if you just Google in here, let me get it right. Oh, wrong way. Right there, just type in Redemption Manual 4.5. Okay. And you'll come up and you'll see a whole bunch of them. But the one that you want is this one right here. It says Redemption Manual 4.5 WordPress.com. That's the one you want. You want the one that says WordPress.com. You got to have that one. It's got a whole bunch of numbers in front of it. It says .files.wordpress.com. Now, when you go to click on that, it's not going to show you a preview of the book. Since it's a PDF file, it's instantly going to want it to download. Let me tell you, it is 600 and 82 pages.
Yeah.
When it downloads, this is what you're going to see. Right there. That is the very beginning cover of the book. It's Redemption Manual 4.5 edition. It's put out by the Americans Bulletin. And it says how to become a secured party creditor, understanding the matrix, and taking commercial control. For some people, this thing downloads in just a matter of seconds if you got really great internet. And some people, it takes just a minute or two. I downloaded mine off of this cellular internet, and it took me about 2 minutes to download it. But again, if you go to Google, and it is right there, Redemption Manual 4.0 WordPress, right?
4.5.
4.5. That's the one you want, the one that says WordPress.com. And it does say on the left-hand side of it, PDF. That's the one you want. And like I said, you will not see a preview of it at all. You'll have to download it, and then when it opens up, you see the front cover. And as long as the front cover looks like that, you're good. That's what it has to look like. You know you're on the right page then. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All righty? If you can't get it, just let me know, and I'll try to figure out how to help you download it. But you can download it on a smartphone. You can download it on an iPad, a note thing, a laptop, whatever. It is downloadable with no problems.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
What the heck?
Thanks for showing up, Helen. Love everybody here. Okay, and I got that little crawler going by Steps to Escaping the Matrix. I'm telling you, this book is going to show you, and they have documented in there articles and stuff from other books to prove what they're saying. And I'm going to read an excerpt from the book. In 1802, Thomas Jefferson warned, if the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. Man, the issuing power should be taken from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs. And one thing, as you download this book and as you start to read it, and I cannot emphasize enough, do not skip ahead. If you want to see what the forms look like, go ahead. You can skip ahead just to see what the forms are. And we're going to have, in the future, we're going to have some legal guests on to tell you how to redemption. Mike, lot of lead, Mike. It's redemption. REDEMPTION. Manual 4.5. Yeah, look, Jay's book already downloaded, Chris, in 10 seconds, he said.
I see that.
Yeah.
This thing might have a heck of a download tonight.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
It's a PDF. Lot of lead. It's a PDF book of the book. And the only thing that I find the drawback to it is I can't just stop at a page and close it out and then reopen it and come right back to that page. So what Chris has done, Chris has got paper and a printer, and he prints out so many pages at a time.
That's 114 pages so far, with all my sticky notes and everything.
Yeah. And okay. All right, Lotta Led. And here's the thing. I recommend that you because I'm so busy, I don't have time to print it out. So Chris is doing all the legwork. All right, Jay. Look at Jay go. Jay says, I already copied and pasted it, shared it with 100 people via email. Awesome. That is awesome.
Awesome.
So
it's going to be a lot of pages, guys. Like I said, this thing is 600 all total. I mean, it's a big deal. It's 682 pages. So what you could do is save it onto a thumb drive, go to a Kinko's, an Office Depot, or any place like that. They will print it out for you on paper, or they will actually make a buck for you, however you want to do it.
Well, here's the thing. I called my local Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's shop, and I says, I got 682 pages, and then I says, how much will it cost me to bring my flash drive to you and print it off? And how many pages? I said 692 or 682, $170 some.
The book's cheaper than that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, well, it'd be cheaper for me to just buy the book. But I think your idea of printing it out yourself and only printing so many pages where you can highlight, you can make notations on it. Welcome, Danielle. And Jeff Vare is in jail.
Yeah, Jeff's in jail, but he can watch.
And
he cannot respond.
Well, he can respond via Messenger.
Yeah.
With you. Don't clog my phone up with Messenger. But folks, this is how important sovereignty is. This is how important becoming a secured party's creditor is to becoming sovereign. You're breaking away from the corporation where your birth certificate, it came in all capital letters, your social security, your name's in all capital letters. That is called dog Latin, and it means that you're a possession of the government. You're a possession of the government. When you were born and your birth certificate was filed, and nowadays, and I believe it's been in the last almost 40 years, that when you're born and they fill out your birth certificate information, they also must fill out application for a social security number. Back when I was growing up, when I was a child, you didn't have to send off for a social security number until you wanted to, until you started working. So anyways, but this book will educate you on how to escape the banking system clutches, the clutches of the banks, the clutches of government. It will put you steps closer to becoming sovereign. And what does it mean to be sovereign? Well, it means that you're free to govern yourself and keep yourself in check by the word of God. You know, and I've been telling people for years, all these laws they're writing just doesn't make sense. If you follow the 10 Commandments, you're more than likely not to break any of these laws. Now, and you got to use common sense. Common sense tells me, for me to kill somebody out of anger or just kill any other than war, you know, it's wrong. For me to come to your house, steal something off of your property, that's wrong. It says it right in the 10 Commandments, okay? And being sovereign is that I will follow a certain law. I will follow God's law first and foremost. That's basically it. And that the majority of the laws that are written just are senseless laws. And when you are a sovereign, like right now, I have a certificate that says I'm sovereign. And my birth certificate, I don't have a birth certificate. That's the best part. I have what is called a birth announcement. And in my social security card, my name is in all lowercase. I don't have to do a lot of things. 85% of the laws on the books, administrative laws, do not apply to me. I do not have to obey a bunch of unconstitutional and ungodly laws. So that's plain and simple. And Chris and I have discussed this book, what we've read so far, a few times, well, actually several times. And like I was saying earlier, when you're born and all your information is sent in and you get that social security number, the federal government goes to the Federal Reserve Bank and they borrow against your name. And they're saying your hard labor and any properties that you purchase in the future, we're going to pay back the debt with that. So, and I've heard so many conflicting stories, but I've heard one constant story that for every child that is born and their information is put out there, the federal government goes to the Federal Reserve Bank and borrows $100 million just on your name.
You might want to say that again. Sticker shock,
When your social security number is given to you and your birth certificate is registered, the federal government goes to the Federal Reserve Bank and borrows $100 million against your name. Now, I've heard stories that they borrow 100 billion. But the most constant with the constitutional lawyers that I've been working with, and you will get to know them because in the future here, they will come on to these shows with us. And they will tell you.
One of the things I was going to say, if you don't mind, is this. Guys and gals, you got to realize something. Everything we're going to be bringing to you, you've been lied to your entire life. So you're going to have to start this with a very, very open mind. At the same time, there is so much to this that your brain's going to hurt. There's times where I'm even reading this and I have to quit because I'm trying to comprehend it, not understand it, but I'm trying to comprehend it. But there's so much, even in the short phrases that it comes in, that you have to stop. You got to research phrases. You got to research all this stuff you're pulling up. There's a lot to this. And like I said today, everything he's talking about is nothing but critical thinking. And you have to do it with an open mind. You can't be closed-minded about it.
Now, it's common knowledge. Now, everybody that's in here, I'm seeing 37 viewers, 39 viewers. Everybody that's in here, Type in 1 if you know exactly how much it costs the Federal Reserve to print each bill. Type in 1. Welcome, Hammer. Keith D. Williams is watching with us. His nickname is Hammer. Keith the Hammer Williams, a Marine veteran. He's one of the best. He's like you, Chris, except he gets really into it when he's talking. He's very passionate. Now I'm gonna. Okay, Jimmy Collins puts in. Anne Marie is the only one that typed in 1. Okay, and no, everybody else is typing 0. So anyhow, if you don't know who Keith D. Williams is, Chris, like the Truth page.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Okay. Him and Matthew Peavy. I'm going to tell you what. Two of the best guys I've ever met in social media. And I really want to, I tell you what, I was going through a dark evening one night, and Keith was doing a live feed on Periscope. And, you know, I was just like, we were talking about veterans and stuff like that. And I says, you know what, I wish I would have never came home from Vietnam, because it's that survivor's remorse. And I'll tell you what, Hammer just says, you know what, dude, you were, and it broke his heart, and you saw it in his face that it broke his heart that I said that. And he just said, you know what, dude, you were just doing your job, you know, and he's helped me through a couple times, you know. He's one of the best guys I've met, and besides you and many others, but he was one of the first I ever met on social media. And I'm telling you what, he cracks me up. He makes me laugh. He makes me cry. And then he gets me angry, because when he's spewing the truth, I get angered that people out there don't realize, or they don't want to realize, what the government's actually doing to us. So, what did Keith say? Well, neither am I, Keith. I'm not the best, but you're one of the best in my eyes. So take it for what it is. You know, take the compliment. Don't make me call you a pus-nutted Marine. I won't call you a pole smoker, because I know you don't go that way. But anyways, this book opened my eyes to a lot more than I thought I knew. So this book will enlighten you. So anyhow, yes, Helen's right. Keith is, he's real. And he does speak the truth. And I'm going to tell you what, this man has been put through hell on social media. He's been put through hell. And I get angered at some of the people that actually put him through the hell that he's been through in the last few years. Keith is funny. Did you read his comment?
Yeah, I just read that. That's like a Marine. I like that.
So anyways,
I'm Army. So you're Army. Well,
so am I. I mean, yeah.
We all know.
Marines are first in. So, but one thing I realized while I was still in the service is it doesn't matter what branch you served, as long as you served.
Yep.
You know,
see, when I first went in, I had to wear the OD greens, and I can't call it what it's called, but the taco hat, you know, for your dress greens, except for that's not what they was called. You know what I mean?
The sea hat.
Yeah. But you know, one thing, the first thing I learned when I got in there, and it didn't take very long for me to figure it out, is like we all bleed green.
Yeah.
We're all brothers.
Okay.
No matter what branch of service you're in, whether you're a sea baby, whether you're a fly boy, or a pole dancer, or a grunt, a jarhead, devil dog. If you're 11 Bravo, airborne, it don't make a damn. We're all brothers. We're all there to do our job and try to get our ass to come home. That's
Exactly.
all there is to it.
Now, getting back to the book here, folks. We call him a piss cutter. Getting back to the book. You're going to learn some Latin in this book. That's for sure. Because a lot of our laws in our court system is Latin. So you're going to learn some Latin. And that excerpt that I read that Thomas Jefferson said, you know, that is so true, that if the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. And we're seeing it, people. And anyways, let's get back to what it costs the Federal Reserve to print each bill. 2 cents. And it's worthless. All it is a worthless note, promissory note. That's all it is. 2 cents is all it costs them. Oh, yeah. Keith is saying that they use Latin so they can confuse the average person. And 2 cents is all it costs the Federal Reserve to print each bill. And how many people here, by typing one, know that the Federal Reserve Bank and the Federal Reserve banking system is a private owned bank? It's not even it doesn't even belong to the government.
Oh, I was supposed to type a 1. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things people are going to find out here too right away. I mean, instantly when we start getting into this. In case a lot of you folks don't know this, our judicial system is based off of the bar. Now, what is the bar? Everything you're going to learn about our judicial system in this process reverts back to British law. There is no such thing as American law. It's all based off of British rule, British law. So you have to understand that aspect. And even as of today, the Brits still use Latin in their court system. So do we.
Yeah, the British Accreditation Regency. That's what the bar stands for. And well, I was discussing with Miss Carolyn Divers today, and I've been telling people that the reason why Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and as you read this book, everything is going to make sense to you on what Congress and the Senate is doing. Okay? The gun grabs, because we live in an age, an information age that we didn't have 50 years ago. We didn't have it 60 years ago. We have an information era where you can find this information if you know where to dig it up at. Okay? So, as you read this book and as we discuss it and as we put it in layman's terms, you will understand why they're doing what they're doing. Well, actually, Keith, there's a little more to why he was assassinated. Okay.
Yeah.
He was fighting the banking system. He was. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there because this is a juicy part, and I think everybody needs to know this. Okay. That in 1861, when the Southern states got up and walked out of Congress, this is common knowledge. Congress ceased being a legal Congress because they lacked the quorum. And to right side the United States, Abraham Lincoln had to declare martial law. Okay. So he wrote the executive order declaring martial law. Everything happened. 1865, Robert E. Lee surrenders in Appomattox. And 3 days before Abraham Lincoln was to rescind the martial law executive order and take us back to common law, he was assassinated. That was the biggest thing. They wanted to get rid of him before he could rescind that executive order, so we would remain a military Congress. And I'm going to smoke while I'm on my live feeds. And for those of you who are concerned about my health, I've been smoking for 64 years and I'm not dead yet.
Now, another thing people don't realize too is there's this misnomer that the South was always Democrats. And the problem about that is that's wrong. That is not necessarily true. The South was both Democrats and Republicans, just like the North.
Yeah.
And
the Southern states.
Yeah,
the Southern. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You're on a roll. You do it.
The problem with it is what people don't realize is there's a role reversal. After this happened, the Democrats from the North came down south and the Republicans went north. There was a role reversal here. And everybody talks about slavery. Well, the problem about it is the Democrats that were up north brought their slaves with them to the South. This is where the big slave issue kind of started also. And the reason for the South walking out of session is not over slavery at all. It has nothing to do with that.
Slavery was a window dressing to sell to.
The reason why they walked out is because the South wanted to become their own entity, period.
They wanted to break away from the banking system with Britain. So now, how many people here, type 1, if you know the real reason why the Revolutionary War started? Was it the taxation on the tea? Yeah, Keith's right. It was over the rules of statehood and their desire to break away from England totally. That's what it was really about. And Helen, if you have a smartphone, you can download Redemption 4.5 on your phone. So anyways, can
I smoke while I watch? Light them if you got
reason why the Revolutionary War started is our forefathers, the 13 original colonies, when No, it had nothing to do with the guns, Keith. That was part of it. But the real reason was that our forefathers were printing what is called fiat money. It was only good for those who used it in their area, but was worthless in England. So when King George would call for his taxes from the new continent, they paid him in fiat money. And King George, it was worthless to him. And King George sent a proclamation to the new continent, to the colonies, saying, I want my taxes paid in gold. And then they says, this is going to start a war, because America, gold wasn't that plentiful in the United States at that time. So then they says, well, okay, disarm them. So everything that you learned in school, everything that they taught you in school, throw that stuff out the window. Throw it out the window, because it's not right. It's not true. They leave things out on purpose. They don't want you knowing the whole truth. Now, how many of us ever been in court, and whenever you got called up to the stand, you put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and says, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? But our government will give you part of the truth, but not the whole truth.
They'll give you about that much.
So this book is going to touch on the history from 1781 to now. It's going to tell you, what years, like, I bet you a lot of people here don't even know why the War of 1812 started and what it was about. It looks like Carolyn has us up on Zoom already. But the War of 1812, I was shocked when I found the real reason why the War of 1812, what it was about. I'm going like, well, that's not what I learned in school, because they don't want you to know. And I'll be honest with you, I did not know about the original 13th Amendment until 20 years ago. I never knew about the original 13th Amendment. And a lot of people here probably don't know what the original 13th Amendment was about. Yeah, Helen, they do. They lie while they're trying, when they're supposed to be telling the truth. So,
well, and that's one thing we got to get back to is the original 13th Amendment, because like we both know that after Virginia signed it, guess what?
It was ratified.
Yeah. And in all honesty, we are supposed to be under the original 13th Amendment right now. And that will null and void everything that's ever happened in Congress, every law, everything, because it has a titles of nobility, which means no attorneys or anybody with any kind of titles at all can do any kind of representation of the people in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I'm replying to Anne Marie.
Oh, how did you find this? It's 4.5, not 4.6. Jeff.
So, the titles of nobility.
Mm-hmm.
And when lawyers finish law school and they take the bar exam. It's we'll get into it a little more, Melody, if you're referring to what he said about the titles of nobility. We'll get into that. But lawyers, when they take the bar exam and they pass it, they are then given a title. And does anybody know what that title is? When you go into the yellow pages, Anne Marie wants to know how I found out about it. I've been working on this Oath Accountability Agreement Act with 4 constitutional lawyers. And I have worked on some stuff with this, the author of this book. And I called him for some advice about adding more to the Oath Accountability. And he says, you need to read my books, but you need to read this book. And I says, well, what one is that? And he told me it was Redemption Manual 4.5. And he already has a Redemption Manual 5.0 already out. Yes, Esquire. They're given the title of Esquire. In the original 13th Amendment, the Titles of Nobility Act, that says if anybody that holds a title that is tied to England, you cannot serve in any office in government. And every attorney, as soon as they pass the bar exam and they're mailed back their big certificate, it will say Joe Blow Esquire. And that is a title of nobility to the crown of England. And that is the reason the War of 1812 started.
Now, how important is the Battle of 1812?
It's very important.
Most people have never heard of it. Most people have never heard about it.
If they give up their title, okay, here's one of the biggest lies when it comes to attorneys and lawyers is we're told you have to be a bar licensed attorney to practice law. That's a lie. That's a lie. And Keith, it's over half of Congress and the Senate. It's like 80. What did we say? That one article I looked up, Chris, it's like 86% of Congress and the Senate are all lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. What was it? It was 80. I think it was right at 86% are attorneys or attorneys that have been disbarred.
Okay. And now hold on to that word disbarred. Hold on to that word. Remember that word disbarred. Okay. Within our lifetime. Okay. How many president candidates or even presidents that it's been brought to light? Oh, they've been disbarred. Like Obama. Oh, I was a lawyer. I taught constitutional law.
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find out that he's been disbarred. Hillary Clinton's been disbarred. Michelle Obama's been disbarred. Okay. And there's a reason for that. that they did it on purpose. They got disbarred on purpose for the mere fact that if any citizen and any person in America, but here's the thing, Lincoln was not a part of the Bar Association. Callie, Lincoln never took the bar exam.
No, he did not.
Okay. So Lincoln wasn't tied to the crown through title. And Obama, yeah, you're right, Keith. He was a research assistant. He didn't even teach a class. But if and the reason why recently the Clintons and all these people who run for president, they get themselves disbarred on purpose. So if we really want to push the issue because the original 13th Amendment has never been repealed, we can sue them in court and get them taken out of office. But they don't tell the people that. See, this is information that we need to get out there. We need you to know.
Here's a good question that just came up. Well, for one, I gotta go back here. Jimmy Collins says, you're making me feel stupid. There's a lot of this, Jimmy. Trust me, you're not the only one. We're both learning stuff that we never knew. There's a lot of this that's going up. But also, a very good question was asked that when they are disbarred from the bar, okay, when they have to give that up, question was asked, does that mean that they have to give up their title as being an ex-attorney, an ex-esquire, or whatever term they want to use?
Yeah, they have to give up their title. They're stripped of their title. They are totally stripped of their title. You there, Chris?
I love the fact that there's questions. Even Danielle says 86%. So we're dead on there.
Yeah.
And trust me, guys, this is something I said it earlier during Johnny's show and earlier today, that if you have high school kids at home, they need to know about this stuff, because trust me, they're not going to learn about it in school. And they damn sure not going to learn about it in college. Even if they take government and that kind of stuff, they're not going to learn this stuff in those classes.
Yeah. It's a shame too. So anyhow, and this is how important the War of 1812 is, because what 3 buildings were burnt to the ground and with everything in it? Well, one wasn't burned all the way down to the ground, but 2 of them were.
Well, one is obvious, of course, the White House. But what's the other 2?
The Capitol building.
Was it the Library of Congress?
The Library of Congress.
Was it Washington's Memorial? Was it the Lincoln Center? Was it?
It was the Capitol building, and the Library of Congress was burnt down. In 1913, Melody, 1913, and we're going to get to that in the book. The White House, the Capitol, the Federal Capitol building, and the Library of Congress was burnt to the ground. And the reason, well, not the White House still remained standing, but the Library of Congress had all the proof of the 13th Amendment. The Capitol building had proof of the 13th Amendment. But what the British and their spies did not realize, that each state had a copy of the 13th Amendment. Had a copy of it. And then it was 1833, Virginia finally signed it and it became ratified.
Right. Now here's a question. And Jeff Fire, since he can't, chat or anything, he's sending me via Facebook Messenger. Jeff says they got disbarred under somebody else and never never got disbarred underneath themselves, but they got disbarred under somebody else, but not themselves personally. That's what Jeff is saying.
Yeah. And another thing that you're going to find out in this book is whenever it's talking about filing your UCC forms and everything that you need to do to take a step closer to being sovereign, is you can put whatever name you want on there that you want to change your name to. You can change your name. You can say, hey, I want to be Benjamin Freedom Franklin. And that's who you are. And you'll break free from the banking hold that's choking the living crap out of you. And you'll learn how on property that you own, that you will file a UCC form that will give you the true ownership and title of that property. Because to be quite honest with you, how they made you that mortgage loan, they didn't actually give money. All they did was create a ledger entry, and that was it. Okay, Mike, a lot of lead. Mike's got to get going. Okay, and how do they change your names? Okay, Danielle, they're changing their names using the UCC forms that they can change their, like Barack Obama changed his name from, oh God, I'm having a senior moment. Barry.
Yeah. Barry Sorato.
Yeah. To Barack Hussein Obama.
That's because his dad was Muslim, and after he became a Muslim, he had to change his name for his Muslim faith.
Mm. Well, see, Keith is saying here, the problem is you become completely self-sufficient, self-dependent, and lose all benefits that other citizens can utilize. But not so, Keith. I can utilize a lot of the benefits that you do. Okay. But in being sovereign, I'm 100% sovereign. You know, people ask me, well, geez, you don't pay federal income tax. Well, no, I don't. I don't have to. I don't have to have a license to drive. I don't have to. I have a different type of title on the properties I own because I am sovereign. And I don't need the government's permission. If I want to go out to my farm and I want to put up a 50-story casino hotel, I don't need the government's permission to do it.
Helen asked the question, how many of the idiots of mayors, senators, and congress people are under different names?
A lot of them are.
I'd say 90% of them are.
Yeah, and Anne-Marie said it right there. I was going to say it before she typed it in. Bill de Blasio is one.
Jay, we're going to get to that. Jay just asked what paperwork declares you sovereign. Crazy Horse became sovereign the day he was born because he was born on a reservation. Now, the rest of us aren't. The rest of us are not sovereign, and that's something we're going to get to later on in the book. And there's a whole lot to this. It's not a one-step process. There's actually a gentleman here in Woodward that actually became sovereign, and his wife is actually watching the show tonight. But even he has done it. He's a vet himself, and it's a big process. There's nothing easy about it, and we're going to cover that later on. But Crazy Horse comes by naturally by birth, by being born on a reservation, because all Native Americans are sovereign residents.
And yeah, and you're not called a sovereign citizen. You're called a sovereign resident.
And there's a big difference between a sovereign individual, a sovereign citizen, and a sovereign resident. Big difference.
Yes. Well, Keith, a lot of people do it verbally. They just say, "Oh, I'm sovereign," and they don't go through the steps that it takes to be sovereign. And I'm going to tell you what, being sovereign, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that.
Yeah.
But a lot of, Keith just said, a lot of us come of it naturally because we're born here. Just because you're born on the United States soil doesn't mean you're actually a sovereign. Look at your birth certificate. If your name is in all capital letters, that's dog Latin, void of law, and it means, according to Black's Law Dictionary, you are property of the government. You've been sold.
The day you was born.
Oh, okay, Keith, I understand now. Yeah, the day you're born and your parents filled out your paperwork, boom, you became a slave to the government, who the government's a slave to the world banking system. Okay. And then you'll find out why America has been going into these other countries and trying to overthrow what they call dictators. Obama and Hillary Clinton went into Libya and overthrew Muammar Gaddafi. And if you knew the real reason why they did it, it will blow your mind.
Okay, I'm getting my phone's blowing up here. They're wanting me to invite Lee in here. They want me to invite PK in here. Guys, you're going to have to go to the page. You're going to have to do a request to join, and then we'll go through and we'll get you in that way. That's the only way we can do it. But everybody who's not on the page, this congressional accountability page, are going to have to go there, and then they're going to have to ask to join, so that way we can get you in here.
Yeah. Hey, Penny, if you're already on the group, then you can invite them. You can recommend them, and Chris and I will approve them. And I approve a lot quicker if the request for member says recommended by Penny PC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going as fast as I've already approved like 30 people, so I'm going as fast as I can.
Yeah. And I want to welcome Randy Gresenbeck, or however you say your last name, Randy. Randy jumped the gun a week ago, because I had a discussion with him. Yeah, Keith, you're right. There's a lot of things that we wouldn't have to do. So, but anyhow, the thing is that, and I'm gonna share this story. Okay, somebody I've been working with very closely with the oath accountability and stuff. He did all kinds of stuff. He did a lot of this. Okay, and he actually got $3.9 million back from the federal government, rebated to him. $3.9 million rebated back to him. Yeah, from Congressional Accountability Committee, Penny. Just recommend them to our group, and either Chris or I will approve them. So, hey, what's going on, Mr. Rourke? So this book is so complex and so in depth. We're going to be doing a series of shows, and like I put in my post before, we're going to be doing 2 shows a week, and we've picked 7:30 as the time because out of all the times that people were giving us, this was the best compromise, closest to perfect time. And if you don't catch the show, there's always replays. So.
Yeah. Now, also, you're going to be showing this on your YouTube and other places. Where are you going to be sharing this yourself?
I'm going to be sharing this to Twitter. I'm going to be sharing it to my YouTube channel. And I don't know. I might go with Twitch too. So.
Okay, so just in case a lot of people don't get in here tonight, everybody be sure to send them a deal to join the Congressional Accountability Committee page. That's the only way they're going to get in here. Right. So once they're in there and we see who they've been recommended by, boom, it's Johnny on the spot, they're in. But that's the fastest way for them to get in because trust me, we've already talked about this. We're going to start out. There's probably going to be 1 show this week, but next week we're going to probably do 2 shows, and there'll be 2 shows. And later on, it might jump up to 3 shows a week. There is a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, there's parts of this book that I already knew. But there's, like I said, there's parts that's blowing my own mind. And
hey, Joe Burlock, how you doing?
I'm not one of the highest intelligent people, but I do exercise a lot of common sense. So I'm going to go in here, and so people will, let's see, I'm going to type in some information because there's some people who are just not getting here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another crawler with the title of the book. And that way they can, look it up. Right now, my computer's going so damn slow. And right there, we're going to go ahead and put that on. You'll be scrolling across. I'm new to this Be Live, actually broadcasting from it. Okay. And there it is. And that's right. Not everything in print is true. And that's what we do. Everything they use references in this book. And Chris and I have been fact checking it and, triple, quadruple checking it. We're making sure that it is right. And Keith, there's no better place to find the truth than the library itself.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great thing about nowadays. We have the internet. Trust me, you can find just about anything and everything you'd want to see and you don't want to see on the internet. And we have that ability to do that. And you're going to need to be able to do that because there's a lot of things in this book you're going to have to research. I mean, we can't do all of it. A lot of this you're going to have to do on your own. And trust me, there's going to be a lot.
Yeah. And when it comes time, when we start going over how to file the UCC forms, we will be having legal people on the show with us, these constitutional lawyers that I've been working with. Oh, thanks, Keith. That means a lot to me. And what we got to start learning is question everything. You know, even when Donald Trump opens his mouth, I don't trust it. Proof is in the pudding. And then I go back to a Bible scripture. It says, ye shall know them by their fruits, their character. You know, just because I voted for Trump and I'm a Trump supporter doesn't mean that I bow down to him and say, oh, all hail Donald Trump. He's just a man just like you and I. You know, he's a human being just like you and I. And when we come to the realization that we are fallible, then and only then can we start to gain real wisdom. Hey, Kelly, how's it going? Hi, Deanna.
And I will say this, you know, when you're doing your research, I was doing some the other day on something I came across, and I literally had 10 pages up. I got 2 monitors that everybody knows, and I had 10 different pages up, and all those 10 pages referred to one thing. And that's the kind of research you have to do just to make sure that what you're reading is accurate. Now, one thing I do know too, because I've had a talk with Jeff Fire on this, the scriptures in this book, you have to go back to the very beginning, and it says in there that if he's putting scriptures in there, the author is using those scriptures and what he thinks it means to what he has written about. It don't mean it's verbatim. It doesn't mean it's word for word. It's just what the author thinks that scripture means at that same time.
Keith just said it right there. Action speaks louder than words. It's not enough to know the word. You have to live it.
Right. I agree.
So,
boy, howdy, we got Dale Federico in here. We got Travis Rail in here. Chris Kruska, he's in here.
I just watched our numbers go from 33 to 48.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. And today's the very first day, and we're really not talking about anything yet. We're just kind of informing you guys on what we're going to be covering because it is so in-depth. And again, we got to emphasize this. Once you download this book, it is highly suggested that you don't skip ahead. Go word for word. Read everything. Read the introduction. Read everything. All the way through to the table of contents and then on. Because you will get lost. It's like watching those really good movies to where if you go to the bathroom or you go get your popcorn, you've missed a very important part. And that's what it is.
Lee's in here now.
Yeah, I just proved Lee.
Yeah. But like Randy Grisenbach's in here, and he's been working hard about working to expose child youth services and how they're just stealing the children from parents. And that's another thing that we think when our child's born and that child's ours, we're its parents. And actually, it belongs to it's a ward of the government, of the state, of the federal government. Yeah, Melody. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. You want to talk about writing notes? I have 5 of these composition books, all filled with notes. Just filled with notes. Okay? I got 5 of these. Not all 5 of them are filled with notes, but all my notes are in them. And all my research is in them. So,
And see, like me, what the difference is with me, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this or not, but I've skipped ahead here quite a bit. But I got notes, but I'm also I'm orange marking them, yellow marking them, and then I'm also writing in here. But I got all these little sticky notes that you can see about things that are important. It's like this one here says Trading with the Enemy Act. It was passed in World War One, then updated in 1933 by decree from Roosevelt to become the New Deal Act. You know, I got always remember in commerce, Alberton cannot win. However, a creditor cannot lose. A debtor cannot win, but a creditor will never lose. And this is stuff we're going to get into. And yeah. So there's going to be a lot.
There's going to be a lot of stuff on there. Well, thank you for being here. And the one that made this comment, Crazy Horse, so glad that you're exposing this. I have to go back. Danielle, well, thank you for acknowledging. And it's because of each and every one of you and every American that I'm doing this. Okay. And I'm not doing it just so my good friends can be sovereign and be free from the clutches of the banks and the government. I'm doing it for everybody. Chris and I, we have a passion, just like everybody here. You all have a passion. And I'm telling you, Keith the Hammer Williams, he has such a passion that it wakes you up. It gets you all pumped, and it makes you want to do your own research. It makes you want to be a better person. I'm telling you, people, a lot of you follow Keith D. Williams, and he goes on the page of The Truth. I'm telling you, if you don't know anything about that book or that page, The Truth, then go to it, like it, turn the notifications on, because when Matthew Peavy and Keith D. Williams starts to get their message out there, you see their passion. Their passion is there. It's and it makes you want to be part of it. And it wakes you up. And I'll tell you what, about the second time I seen Keith do a broadcast on Periscope, okay, I was like mad. I was mad. I was mad at myself that I didn't have that passion like I used to have. And at 69 years old, I had the mentality, I'm not going to be here much longer, which is a lie. That's a lie, because, I lied to myself that I'm not going to be here much longer, because I've had a vision since I was 4 years old that I was going to live to be 156 years old.
Well, you got to remember back, read the Old Testament. I've been reading the Old Testament here lately. Them folks lived to be 400 years old. They lived to be 600 years old, 300 years old. It's not impossible. It is not impossible.
Right. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm here to tell you, Keith just said it. He said it's not about him. It's about we. Okay. And it's true. And I'm going to tell people right now that to unite and be effective, then It's got to be we. We have to put our egos and our personalities to the side. And we can't think of ourselves as, oh, we're the most important in the movement. Now, my picture just disappeared, didn't it?
No, I still see you. You're still on. You're still on the internet. I still see you.
Okay, I don't see me on my own.
No, I'm looking at you over here on the Facebook page, and you're still up there.
Okay, but I'm kind of frozen and froze up a little bit. I might have to go. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go out and come back in.
That'll shut everything down.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll shut everything down. Marita says she sees you.
Okay, I won't do that. So, it's we the people. Okay.
Guys, here's something else too. We haven't mentioned this yet, but this little bit of reading that I'm going to tell you about right now will speak volumes kind of into the start of what. Read the preamble. Read the preamble. If you have not read that preamble since high school, read it, because that'll give you an idea of just how important we the people are. Because that's what it boils down to. It boils down to you and I and everybody else that's up on two legs walking, even people that's in wheelchairs or in beds. It is we the people. That's every person that lives in the Republic of the United States.
Yeah. Thanks, Helen. That really does make me feel good. And Kelly, you're right. We the people. It's Patriots Unite. You know, I'm no more important than the next person. You know, I'm just me with a passion to enlighten every American person. Okay. I'm just one little tooth in that cog that turns this whole patriot family. You know what I mean? I'm just one tooth in that gear.
Where's your dog at? Did you bring her back inside?
Yeah, she's inside. She's
okay.
She went up to the upper office to sleep.
Oh, okay. Just checking. And you know, the thing about this is too, folks, we're going to be doing this, and believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of pressure on us to bring the most true information that we can to you. And this is going to be hard on us, not only mentally, but psychologically also, because we have to consider everything we know and everything we're reading. And then we got to read between the lines, and then plus all the research we got to do. It's kind of like, this is not going to be easy. And if it's not going to be easy for us, it's not going to be easy for you. So don't think that this is just going to be a fly-by-night deal, because it's not.
No. And I'm already committed to doing a year long on this book, because I'm telling you what, you know, that's how complex it is.
Mm-hmm.
And and Randy's saying it there too. Even the immigrants are being used. The vast majority of them are hardworking, family-oriented people who just want to better their lives. Okay, and here's what I got to say about how come it's not letting me read his whole thing. Well,
whose?
Randy Gresenbach. I finally got it widened up here.
I can read it if you don't have it.
Who just want to better for their children, no matter than us. But I don't know. I'm being dyslexic. But
Arts recital government uses them for their lack of knowledge as law, as well as bad here in America is a million times better than where they come from. So They just a passing is a sad state of affair that human lives have become less valuable than American currency.
Well, when you come to realize, Randy, that American currency is worthless, and it's the people that they're using. You are the collateral that our currency is based on.
If you as a person was not valuable, then why would the government use your social security number to get how much money?
Well, we really haven't pinpointed except to $100 million they borrow from the Federal Reserve when a child is born.
And the government thinks that child is their property. In all honesty, it is your property.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna answer Keith's question. He says, "Is this group found in other social networks?" He wants to leave Facebook October 1st. I'm thinking about taking it to MeWe and starting the group there. So, but for right now, it's only on Facebook. So,
yeah, I would even have to go start a MeWe because I've never been on it.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, Keith. The people are the currency, not that piece of linen that you hold in your pocket or that coin currency in your pocket. It's the people.
And Danielle, who was an attorney at one time, says we are being manipulated for the globalist use and to promote their agenda, power, control, and greed.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, Melody? Whenever I see somebody say, know your worth, where the government tries to tell me I'm not worth something, I'm going like, apparently I was worth 100 million. Well, they didn't borrow money against me, but apparently, my worth is, I set my worth. But according to you, everybody that you borrowed $100 million from the Federal Reserve Bank, they're worth something. Because I get beat up by politicians because I'm sovereign. So
Keith is absolutely correct. He says where slaves were born knowing them a certain amount of money before benefiting from the Constitution or any rights there are. He's absolutely correct.
Yep. And since 1861, we have been under martial law or admiralty law. $500,000 or is 500 million? Because
Gene, you're absolutely correct. There is no gold at Fort Knox. There has not been for many, many, many years.
So, because not only do they borrow a certain amount of money based on how much taxes they can extort from your hard work, but they borrow the money against any properties that you may buy. That can be land, that can be a building, that can be a car, whatever you buy and that you hold title to, which you think you hold a title to it. Okay, then they just tack on. So my sources say that for every child born, they borrow $100 million against that child. Yes, there is a way that you can break free from the banking system without being a legal sovereign. But that's kind of like
later on. That's later on.
But I'm going to put it to you this way, Melody. That's like taking a shower and putting your dirty underwear back on. Doesn't make any sense. So
we're going to be doing this in bits and pieces, ladies and gentlemen. And I know some of you can probably read pretty fast. I can't. But we're going to be taking this in sections, and I know there's going to be 1,000,001 different questions.
Right.
And we appreciate the questions. But we got to go ahead.
Keith's saying good night. He'll see us the next time. Thank you for joining, jumping in here and being a guest and a partaker of the show. Well, I understand that. And if I was condescending, I'm going to apologize to you if I sounded condescending. Yes, there is a way that you can become what is called a secured party creditor without going all the way to be sovereign. But the point I was trying to make is we're going to get you there to the secured party creditor. But when you do get there, you're going to say, let's go the rest of the way. Okay.
Now, one thing you guys got to realize too is you are born a debtor. Your mother and father were a debtor. Your grandparents were a debtor. Your great-grandparents were debtors. None of you were creditors. No matter how much money you got in the bank or in trust and stocks, bonds, you're a debtor. You're not creditors.
Yeah. And what this show is to enlighten you, to knock those scales off your eyes, to get you to the part where you are a secured party creditor, break free from the banking system. And I'm telling you what, there's one form in there I was reading, and because I did jump ahead to the forms, and I was reading a sample form, and it, backed up the fact that they borrow $100 million against you, because this form was saying, I give you 30 days to pay me back the $100 million that you borrowed against me, and I want it in silver currency.
Yeah. Just say, how many people are in the world, in the United States right now? Just think if half the population at one time said, here, this is what you owe me as a sovereign resident of the United States. What do you think would happen to our government?
Okay. Well, Melody, I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't take all that much time. Okay, and you'll be able to become a secured party creditor before you go on to be with God. Long before you go on to be with God.
Yeah.
Keith, you're funny. You want to vodka? You know what? I was never a vodka drinker. I can't stand vodka. Don't know why. I'm a whiskey and bourbon man myself, and moonshine, but not vodka.
I got burned off a slow gin because I had a DI. That's all he drank, and every morning, every time he got in your face, that's all you smelled was slow gin.
I had an employee, Chris, that all you smelt when he clocked in and he would come over and talk to you, all you smelt was Southern Comfort.
Dang.
Keith, you must be drinking already because some of your comments. I'm a secured party predator, he says. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you what, it was because of Keith. I started rethinking because, I always had the mentality, I will fight to the death for my country. Yeah. Okay. And then after serving 5 years in South Vietnam, and and I knew that our country was so corrupt, then I said I would take a bullet for my fellow American. When we go into battle against a tyranny, I will take a bullet for my fellow American. And Keith says, I don't know about you, but in the Marines, we were taught to kill, not die.
That's right.
And I'm telling you what, when he said that, I just said, you know what? I got to change my mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you have Native American blood and you are and you're actually documented, then you can apply.
Danielle says something real good here. She said it hurts when people say this is a free country when you know the truth. I'm right onto that. Yeah, it hurts when you know the truth that we're actually not a free country and you are nothing but a debtor. Then yeah, it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Yes. So when I you were the first person, Chris, that I took this book to.
Mm-hmm.
And
what you said.
And I told you we got to do something with this book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm game. After reading it, I am so game. Even a dumbass cowboy like myself has a mentality to where I can wrap my head around things. And after reading this, I actually talked with the guy I talk about a lot, my dad. I call him my dad. And he's been following this kind of stuff for probably 60 years. He's in the 70s. And I talked with him about it a little bit, about everything we're going to talk about. And I tell you what, even though he will never get on the internet, he's sued the federal government over 20-something times, won every case, did his own he did everything pro se. He said he's going to watch the show, but he'll never be on and he'll never comment. But even for somebody like that to tell me you're on the right track, that says something to me personally, that you and I are going to be bringing the truth down, and people are going to be, the shock and awe factor is going to hit them. And
we're going to be bringing some knowledge, and it's going to hurt the government.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, Wes. We're not free. We're collateral. And we're going to, with these shows in this book, we're going to show you how you can break free from being collateral. Go from being a debtor to being a creditor.
And Wes said the right word too. He said, "What's happening, slaves?" Because we all are.
Not me.
We all are.
I'm not a slave.
No, you're not. The rest of us are. I'm Scott Irish. My grandmother came over right before World War I. Not only was we a slave in Ireland, but hell, we was a slave when we got here.
Yes, Jay. I am on YouTube. I haven't been on it in a while, but as soon as I get done with the show tonight, I will go on there. I'm going to share this broadcast to my YouTube channel. And then you'll find me under Crazy Horse Tolliver with 2 L's, Tolliver. And it's Crazy Horse Tolliver. And if you see some guy with a skull cap on, this is a welder's cap, but I have a skull cap when I ride my motorcycle. It's a big picture of the finger. Okay. And it was a Halloween party I had, and I had my arm around this clown. Yes. And that's, see, Keith just made this point. I'm just 100% American. Don't even give a shit about my ethnicities. And that's just it. We are Americans. I don't care your skin color. It's irrelevant. I don't care your nationality. It's irrelevant. If you are in this country, you were born here or you immigrated here and you became a naturalized citizen the right way, then we are Americans.
And one thing Keith says too is he's got a document. It's called birth certificate. He don't even trust that because somebody else printed it.
Oh yeah.
We are going to get into that big time. I actually have a certified copy of mine right here from California, and we're going to get into that. The birth certificate are a lot different than birth announcements, but the way they're filled out too will tell you a lot as soon as we start going over them. And you're going to be pissed off when you hear about it.
Yeah. So anyways, I know we're way past. It's 10 minutes after 9 and we started at 7:30. I said we were only going to do 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the max, but we're just giving you some outline of what you're going to find in this book. So, and Keith is right.
So
if you were born on this soil, that makes you Native American. You're indigenous of
again,
this.
if anybody's having problems downloading the book, get hold of me or Crazy Horse or Carolyn or anybody that's already downloaded it, and somebody will help you figure out how to get it downloaded onto your smartphone, onto your laptop, onto your computer, onto something. We will help you.
Right. And Chris, David Dora, he's on Periscope too, and he's a really great guy. Birth certificate and then certificate of birth. There's two different forms. Okay.
Yep. My birth certificate, birth announcement was an EPT.
Listen, Keith, I'm feeling everything but my age. But when we get into the
Melody Shearer says we need our classes twice a week.
So anyways,
but yeah, I mean, this is a good spot to shut it down because a lot of people are saying Jeremy Hansen's on. And this is one thing too, guys, that I said earlier today. I would love if other show hosts came on also. This is not only going to be a learning experience for everybody, but it's also going to be a discussion topics, because trust me, there's going to be a lot of discussion in this also. Yeah. Because you can't believe everything you read without research. You know, and I said this earlier today on the show that if these other show hosts come on here, they're covering headlines, they're covering the national news, they're covering all this other stuff. We're going to be covering something nobody's heard about. And it's not going to hurt them to come on here. So invite them. Invite the other show hosts to come on here, and maybe they'll pick something up. Maybe they'll learn something that they didn't know before. Because this is something that will encompass every single person in the Republic. The Republic has got to stand, and the only way the way the Republic is going to stand is if we, the people, educate ourselves on shit we didn't know anything about. And I know it's human nature to be scared of something you don't know anything about, but trust me, the door's open. Put your damn foot in there and walk through.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to ask you for a favor.
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle, I can't even pronounce, Jaskula says she can't download it on her phone because she doesn't have enough space and she doesn't have any other device. So if I send you PayPal you enough money for ink and paper, will you, Danielle, will you private message Keith so he can get your contact information. He can print it out and mail it to you.
Keith or me?
You. Did I say
Oh,
Keith?
okay. Yeah, you said Keith.
Okay.
And Keith is absolutely right. Anna Von Retz. I would love to get Anna Von Retz on here with you. This woman is phenomenal. I've been following Anna Von Retz for 10 years, and it's scary. But yeah, I will be glad to do that, Danielle. Not a problem at all. Send me a PM after we get done here, and we'll get you hooked up. Not a problem.
Yeah, and I'll PayPal you enough money for ink and paper.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We'll make it work.
Yeah. So Danielle, we'll get you taken care of. We will make sure you have this book in front of you.
He says, not me.
You need a good cabinet maker. Keith is the man. Okay.
Well, I get rich and famous and build me a log house, and he can come up and build me some cabinets for it.
Helen, you want a copy of the book?
Helen's too busy up there fighting with them dimwits up in New York.
Oh, geez. Helen, I'm going to have to meet with you. I'm down here in Pennsylvania, so we can meet somewhere halfway, go to Albany, and I'll help you.
Marita asked, what about a USB thing you can put into your phone? That's above me. I don't know, Marita.
You mean, Marita, if you have I don't know any phone that has a USB
no,
slot.
Not that I know of. They got SD card slots. But
Here's no. Because if you go to the library, get on their computer there, and then
that'd be a hell of a lot of money to print that book out.
Yeah, because most libraries charges what, 25 cents.
Yeah, the one here in Woodward charges 35 cents a page.
I'm in Pittsburgh, Keith. Well, I'm north of Pittsburgh, Zelienople. Robert's already in Albany. Okay, if they make adapters, but
Helen, if it comes down to it, somehow, some way, if you can't download this thing, we will get it to you.
Yeah.
That way, when it's all said and done, you can go up to De Blasio and you can knock the shit out of them with it.
Okay, Danielle. Thanks for your efforts. Because Penny Reuter came to Pittsburgh when we had our 2A rally, and I love it that yes, Melody, that is true. Washington, D.C. And one thing you're going to learn in this book is the truth about Washington, D.C. and where their authority stops. Smelling like rotten eggs. Yeah, a flash drive. So they do sell adapters, apparently, that you can plug it into where you put your charger, and it has a USB end on it, and or you can go get a scan disc, one of those little card-looking things, and put it in your phone and download it onto the scan disc, and then do something with it. But
Helen said, trust me, I will, and a lot more things.
And Robert's saying Helen was moving to Pennsylvania. You don't want to move to Pennsylvania. Jay, Keith is, I'm telling you what, you got to go follow him on his page, him and Matthew Peavy's page, is called The Truth. You've got to go follow him. He is dynamic. He's awesome.
Well, I got to get me something to eat. Hell, let's go 8:20.
he got right outside of Pittsburgh. He steps out of his car. He goes, "Damn, what's that smell?" You weren't smelling me because I'm fresh as a daisy. You know what, Danielle? Thank you for doing that. And I promised Penny that I would make it to Columbus for one of your things. So, and yeah, when 1871, the United States, the government, Washington, D.C., incorporated, but the states didn't. And then with this book, we're going to show you how all the states fell into line to be controlled by the corporation. So, well, thank you for joining, Melody.
Jeff Allen's headed to go watch Hannity.
All right.
See you later, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy. And the best part is I'm not even going to delete these broadcasts. I'm going to leave them up. So if you want to go into Facebook and you want to mark it as a saved video and you want to go watch it later, or if you came in late and you want to see the beginning, you had double lung infection, Melody. Man, I tell you what, we're dealing with that here. Lynn's mother had lung cancer about 1.5 years ago, and they took out the small lobes. And the last 3 weeks, she's been having problems breathing, even on oxygen. And they just rushed her to the hospital this evening. I was going to postpone the show, but Lynn, knowing how important this is, she said that it was all right if I stayed home or stayed here. If you send me money, can I get you the book? You can get the book yourself. You can order it online. Don't send me money, because I don't want to be labeled, oh, he's scamming people.
I just told her either you can or I can, either one, if she needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, you can order it online. And if you want to, just go to the library, get on their internet, order the book, put in your payment information. You have stage 3 COPD. Oh my gosh.
37% lung capacity. But she is here to learn and to help others.
Okay.
That is the true spirit right there.
Yeah. Now, as a Native American, I don't put any man-made pharmaceuticals in my body. Okay. And I'm going to want you to PM me, because there are natural ways of dealing with COPD, emphysema, naturally, with natural medicines that will heal your lungs. So, and there you got Marita research the vitamin for lung health, but there's other natural plants and roots out there that will rejuvenate your lungs. There's now half of these you can find in nature. You can go out into the woods and find them. Well, you know what? Jay says he knows of a cure for cancer. I'm not kidding. Well, let me tell you right now, each and every one of you watching here, I was diagnosed in 1997 with esophageal cancer. Yes, you can message me too. I was diagnosed in 97 with stage 3 or not stage 3. I was reading with esophageal cancer. I went the conventional route of chemotherapy and radiation. And it damn near killed me. So when it came back a second time, I went to my oncologist. We started, and then I just stopped halfway through because I knew it was killing me. And I met a husband and wife oncology team in Montreal, Canada, and they put me on this strict all-natural regime. And CBD oil, fruits and vegetables, no meat, very little fish, probably like twice a month. Okay. And soursop fruit and goji berry smoothies twice a day. And so I got on this regime through them. But I cheated because I'm a steak and potato eater. I'm a meat eater. And I ate meat. So it goes into remission. And I'm like, I called Pete and Bridget up and I said, it's in remission. And Pete's going like, you mean it's cured? And I'm like, they said it's in remission. He says, well, I'm telling you, if you did everything right, it's cured. Well, a little bit after that, it came back. And as soon as I told Bridget and Peter that the cancer's back, Bridget knew right away. You cheated. You ate meat. And I'm like, yeah, I have to. So the fourth time, I followed their treatment to the T. And when I went back in 2011 for my PET scan, I go in, had my scan done, I leave, and then I get a phone call. And it's Dr. Wong. He says, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, you tell me what you know on this PET scan, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. He says, I need you to see you in my office. I'm like, okay. So the next day I go into his office and he has my other PET scans up. And he's explaining to me that cancer cells leave scarring in your blood vessels and whatever part of the body it attaches to. And I says, okay, well, you're the doctor. And he's showing me the scarring. And then he puts the last one, the most recent PET scan up. And he says, there's no scarring at all. It's all disappeared. There's no proof of cancer ever being in your body. What are you doing? So I told him the regime that Peter and Bridget, and they are doctors, they're oncologists. They put me on that regime and I stuck to it. Now, nowadays, I still eat meat, but not as every day. I used to eat meat 3 times a day. Well, every meal I had meat. Okay. Now, my meat intake is random and not as often. And I still do the soursop and the goji berries once in a while when I get around to it. But I eat healthier now. There is a cure for cancer. So, and I met one of Pete and Bridget's clients, the patients that was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And their oncologist only gave them 6 months to live. So mentally, the person just gave up. And then Peter and Bridget took them on as a patient. And here we are 7 years later, and they're still alive, cancer-free. All right, Melody. And my oncologist told me it was because I smoke and that I chew tobacco. Okay. But it didn't come from that. It was brought on because of Agent Orange. So, but Keith, if it meant prolonging your life, would you take 6 months to a year out of your life to not eat meat and get your protein through another source so you can be around for your children and your grandchildren? You know, and then you can still eat meat after the cancer's gone. And here's the best part. If you find cattle that's actually grass fed, you know, and not full of the chemicals and the
growth hormones and everything else.
Right. You know, that helps because that's, you know, my beef is grass fed, and I use a sorghum to fatten them up. So, and Milo, you know what Milo is, Chris?
Oh, yeah. That I do.
That'll fatten them up
quick.
So yeah, it's a lot of it's diet.
A lot of people today. A lot of people. Holy moly.
Keith is saying, I already did my part. Let me eat my meat. I'm not trying to take that steak off of your plate.
You know, when I grew up with red meat survivors,
yeah,
and I knew these red meat survivors lived well into their 90s. But you got to remember too, up until you can see these pictures on Facebook, they show of in the 70s. There wasn't fat people walking around in the 70s.
Yes,
everybody was in shape.
Yes, there was. There was fat people in the 70s.
Well, not like there is today.
Oh, the obesity, and it's starting a lot younger now. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Anybody wants information about the cure of contact Jay, and I'm pretty sure Jay has the same information I do. So, and you know what? David Dorr is right about green leafy stuff.
Yes, Melody. Yes, that is our intention. When we start doing this on our next show, we will actually break it down into subject matter per show. That way, it'll be easier for everybody.
Yeah. So anyways. Well, yeah, exactly. It's because of all the GMOs and the additives and the feed. Corn-fed cows are not good for you.
No, corn's not good for you at all. Corn is the hardest substance for the human body next to sugar, pure sugar, to break down. If you don't believe me, every time you go to the toilet, Before you flush, look, if after you ate corn, you will see it. Your body cannot break it down.
That or pepper.
Yeah. So don't eat the shit that's not good for you.
Trust me, if Keith and I were sitting in the same bar and we were enjoying a steak, or I saw him enjoying a steak, I'd look at the bartender and says, "Give me what the same as he's got."
Yeah,
I'll sit next to him and eat a steak, but
no, I'm not going to turn it down.
I'll say, "Hold on, let me go out to my truck and I'll get my own damn steak."
There you go. That way you know where it comes from.
So, and I've done that before. I've went to my meat locker, gotten out, and I enjoy. If I'm going to eat a porterhouse steak, I don't want that little half-inch thick steak.
No, yeah, buddy.
I need a 2.5 to 3 inch thick porterhouse steak.
Yep, that way you can taste it.
Yeah.
And see, like me, I have to have the fat on it. I got to have fat on my steaks.
So, and this is how I eat my steak. This is how I tell them to cook my steak. If I go to a restaurant, and I go to most restaurants I go to are ones that are mom and pop restaurants that I've sold them their beef. Okay. So I know what I'm getting there.
That's the way to do it.
There used to be, well, they're redoing this one restaurant. It was called the Kaufman House in Zelienople. It burnt down a couple of years ago, but they're building it back up. And I used to sell them their beef, same as the Log Cabin out here on the outside of Zelienople. I tell the waitress, I says, okay, and they know me by now because they know. Don't put it in the sear and then on the grill. Put it on the grill and put a timer. 1 minute, flip it, 1 minute, bring it to me. I want to hear that thing go whenever I cut it.
Knock its horns off, wipe its butt, throw it on the plate. Call it good.
Yep. That's how I eat my steak. You don't cook anymore, Helen? Okay. Well, that's cool. And trust me, if you are a vegan, I'm not going to bash you. I'm not going to judge you. Keep being you. That's all I say to people. Keep being you.
One thing I used to do is I used to go to my grandma's house all the time because my grandma was the type of person. It didn't matter what time of the day you showed up. She always cooked something to eat. And she got offended if you didn't eat. But the problem is sometimes whenever she cooked enough for 6 people.
Yeah.
So if you're there by yourself, guess what? You had to try to eat as much as you could.
Yeah. I'm going to put the title of the book back up on the crawler for this young lady who's asking, Maggie Eustace. I put the title of the book back up on the crawler. Hopefully it's going slow enough that you can copy it down.
It's Redemption Manual 4.5. And somebody will help you, Maggie, as far as figuring out where to go download it through Google. You want to make sure it's a PDF and it's from WordPress.
Yeah, and it's free.
In a Google search, it is free download. Oh, okay.
So, well, folks, 9:30. I got to finish up my day. I still got a lot of work to do. And my day starts at 3 a.m. and it doesn't end until around, and doing this show is just going to make it go longer. Or I'm just going to say to other employees, I'm going to say, hey, you do this and I'm going home. But my day usually ends around 11:30. So at night. No choppers. You don't have any teeth. You're kind of like me. My teeth are like the stars, Helen. They come out at night. They only come out at night.
So Helen's a gummer.
Yeah. Okay. We got to keep it clean. We got to keep it clean. We don't want to get
That what?
we don't want to we don't want to get in Facebook jail our first show. So,
thanks for joining us, David. Thanks for being here.
And I'm going to close every show out with this. You know, whether you believe in God or whether you pray or don't pray, I'm going to end with a prayer. Okay? Heavenly Father, we just come before you, and we thank you for the fellowship that we share this night, and that we can enlighten each other, and we can discuss things in a nice, calm manner. We can have fun. We can joke around. And Father God, but let us not forget that you are in the midst of this, and it's because of you we have this ability to put this word out. And in your name, your son's precious name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, folks. God bless. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Good night.
And if you know anybody sitting on a wooden fence, tell them to get their butt off the fence.
Yeah. Quit getting splinters.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Good night, folks.
See you later. Sometimes it takes just a second or two to stop.
I keep hitting it, end broadcast.
Yeah. Helen says I'm dead meat. Remember, she's from New York. She's got to come to Oklahoma to get me. Yeah, when you hit end broadcast, sometimes it takes a few seconds before it actually shuts down.
Okay. You know, that'd be a perfect time to play a song.
Yeah. Yeah.